Now, when it says, I and my Father are one, well, that's the goal, but you have the capacity to get to that goal. So what does it mean, I and my Father are one? It means that you're walking more and more in agreement till that you guys actually look similar in your mindset, your thought process, and your behavior, okay? In our aligning with the Father. Yeshua could say, I and my Father are one because he aligned perfectly with the Father. We can also, by moving more and more in that direction, right? When two walk together in agreement, it means how many things, how many aspects of life are you in agreement in? The more aspects of life, the closer your relationship. Which is why a lot of people that are married don't really have much of a relationship because they really don't have enough things to walk in agreement with except that they're married. They may have one or two, that's why they thought they had enough and they got married. But the more things you walk in agreement in, the closer your relationship. So there's something that's allowable, but shouldn't be wise for everybody to do. Okay, and Paul was saying, for me, some things that are allowable I've realized are not good for me. Just because they're allowed doesn't mean it's good for you. I'm not saying that it's not good for anybody. It just depends on the application, the timing, and who's doing it and what's the context. So there may be things that are allowable that are only problematic for some people in certain situations, or some people all the time and other people's not. And it has to do with their makeup. It doesn't have to do with like, well, how come it's okay for them to do it and not me? Well, maybe you have an issue with it. Okay, so, it's allowable. Look, some of you are really gluten intolerant. It's allowable to eat things with gluten in it, not for you. It's allowable. There's no Torah against it, but you better not do it. You're gonna have a reaction, right? And so that's what he's talking about. There are things that are okay and allowed to do, as far as Scripture is concerned, like it doesn't break a commandment, but it's not necessarily wise to do something just because it's allowed. And so you can look back and say, yeah, that's something that happened. It doesn't hurt me anymore. It's not happening now. And anytime that old whatever starts popping up, the key to fixing things is the reality of now. So you go into the now. Is it happening now? No. Then we need to let that thought go. Okay? Did that affect my life? Yes, until now. Now I get to make choices now that I'm aware of these things, right? So it doesn't have to continue to affect my life. So you need to have the manager grab a hold of that thought, because it's going to pop up until the manager starts winning that battle, and say, hold on, time out. This is not happening now. Yes, it happened, but it's not affecting me anymore. I don't have to let it affect me anymore. I can choose now to go forward. Yahweh did not reject Cain's offering. He corrected his attempt at an offering. Do we understand that? He didn't say, I don't want it. He said, you didn't do it right. That's different. But you see the language, you gotta be careful of the language, because we can tend to see things as rejection that are not necessarily rejection, okay? He was correcting him, because he said, if you do it right, won't I accept it? But you brought me something that's not right. So I'm not rejecting your offering, I'm telling you you did it wrong. See, rejecting would mean I did it right and you just didn't want it. And so now you're rejecting me, you're rejecting my offering. Okay? So like, let's say, for example, you bought me a gift and it's not really something that I would like. And so I say, well, this is not, I might reject your gift, I guess, if I didn't want it or something, which would be very rude, by the way. You just take it and do something else with it if you really is not something you want. But the thing is, this is something Abba desired. Yahweh said, I want you to make an offering. You didn't do it right, so I can't accept this. It's not right. Go back and fix it, and then I can accept it. So there's no rejection here, okay? Is that helpful? I'm going to answer the question, though, in general for all of you. See, the reason I said unique aspects, because I don't know how old your teenager is. It says, my teenage daughter's refusing to attend. Is your teenage daughter 13? Then tell her to shut up and attend. Teenage 13-year-olds don't get a choice, okay? And if they're messing with you, you have not had the right authority in your house. Okay? You don't really have and shouldn't really have this problem till at least 17, 18, because then they're almost out the door. And of course you're thinking, they're not ever leaving. No, you can throw them out. You look at me like, you're out of your mind. No, you're out of your mind. Why would you let that child ruin your house? But you need to be upfront with them. 13, 14, even 15, I'm sorry, you don't get a choice. You're coming to the service. 16, 17, 18, it depends on if you think they can be safe not coming. Because I'm not forcing people to Torah observe if their bubble hasn't been popped, etc. They have to want to do this. Then you have the Elohim level, which is really what people think they're talking about, okay, which is the agape love. That's an unconditional love. I love you. You have that, or should have that, for your child. You created that child, you will always love that child. You may not always like that child. So now we have to talk about that what you're thinking is love is more like. Because like is something that you only feel if the person merits it. Okay, so you may be in a marriage, you go, I love you. I don't like you very much right now, but I love you. And the person might say, how is that even possible? Because I will always love you, even if I don't always like you. Okay? It's easier to understand with the child. Okay? Some of you have children, or you have siblings, or your parents had children that are in jail. They're still loved. Even though they did things that are not approved and nobody's proud of it and brought shame to the family, there's a love there because we're family. The Yahweh Spirit level of these things. You can have these things when nothing's problematic. You can love things when everything's great. Yeshua says, what big deal? You love those who love you. All right? That's easy. Anybody could do that. You can have peace when everything's wonderful. You can have patience when everything's moving smoothly, right? All these things you can have, but can you have them when it's the most adverse condition to have it? And the more you practice that, the more it becomes your nature. See, people keep looking on, it's the Christianity in you. Stop looking for it to come from outside. Like he's going to give you this just because you have the Spirit now, whatever. So now you have this fruit of the Spirit thing. No. When you allow his mind to help you react properly to things, so you have love where it would have been hard for you to do. You have peace when it would have been hard for you to do. Long suffering when it's hard for you to do. You're kind and gentle when it was hard for you to do. Over time, it becomes your nature, because that's his nature.
So how are we his strength?
All right, because you're looking at things from
a Christian point of view?
No, not a Christian point of view. I mean, it might be. No, the problem is you're looking at things, sometimes we do this, that there's a direct relationship. When he says that he is our strength, then we think that the way he strengthens us, somehow he's saying that we strengthen him. See, and it's not a direct correlation. Strength can be represented in different ways. He is our strength, you have correctly, all right? We, by representing him here on the planet, are his strength. In other words, we represent him. We are his strength. His representation, his power in the world, he has his people. Do you understand that now?
Yes.
Okay?
Also,
so it's not like we strengthen him, we represent his strength.
Oh, I see.
Okay, we are his representation of his strength here on the planet. Okay, let's start off with what porneo is. In Leviticus, when we read about, I think it's 18, when we read about, uncovering the nakedness of the sister or the brother, this and that, and all these other things, that is the stuff that I think is called porneo. That's not called adultery in Leviticus, it's called whatever it's called. It's these acts that are, okay, remember, porneo is a Greek word versus a Hebrew word. So this is what we would call sexual immorality. Having sex with a beast, man with man, woman with woman. These are all things that are sexually immoral. They're not adultery. Adultery is adultery. Now, I'll explain what that is in a second also. But understand, this here, what he's talking about, is not talking about adultery. He's talking about these other things that are sexually immoral behaviors that then would be something that you would throw her out, scarlet letter, basically. It's a very public thing that you do.
I don't understand why everybody's looking so excited about him coming. I don't understand. Because, I'm serious.
Because some of us are thinking it's about time this whole world got a smack.
Yeah, but we're going to be involved in the war.
Right, but we're gonna have the incorruptible suit, so it's okay.
Oh, okay.
Because remember, we're meeting him in the air on his way to Zechariah, where it says he'll land on the Mount of Olives. It's going to split in two when all the armies of the world are gathered against Jerusalem. All of this is in the Millennium and Kingdom teaching. Okay, so maybe you need to go back and listen to that one. All right.
I didn't get the part about the incorruptible suit part at that point.
Yeah, no. So it says that we will meet him in the air, but it's on his way to where he's going, which is Mount of Olives, okay, to fight a battle.
Yeah, I did hear that part.
Yeah.
And so then I was thinking,
well, how did you think you're going to go up in the air? You're going to go up in the air in your flesh suit?